You know, over the last couple of days, I've come to realize that there are actually a lot of people who have no idea who Jane Goodall was. Or even if they do, they just think of her as some conservationist who occasionally spent some time with monkeys in the forest. But Jane Goodall was an extremely important figure in science. She was a zoologist, primatologist, anthropologist, ethologist. The list literally goes on. That's not it. And she completely changed the way we look at not just chimpanzees in particular, but animals in general, right? She's often considered perhaps the world's leading expert, foremost authority on chimpanzees. This was not some random conservationist. This was an extremely important personality. Her work completely changed the way we look at chimpanzees. Before her, like in the 60s and 70s, it was inconceivable that an animal could ever make or use tools. Right? This was considered something uniquely human. But it was her work that gave us this insight that no, if you look at chimpanzees, you can literally see that they make and use tools. It was her work. She sat there and observed a chimpanzee taking a twig, a branch, stripping it of its leaves, and then using it to fish termites out of a termite mound. Nobody thought to do this, right? Scientists in the 60s and 70s thought that animals were just kind of mechanistic creatures, right? Nobody ever thought of an animal as being anything more than just the reductionist sum of their parts, right? They thought that if you want to study animals, all you need is, a corpse, and you can, look at the bones, and you can look at the pelts, and you can look at things in a lab. And if you're really, really ambitious, you might look at an individual in captivity and see its behavior. But nobody thought to say, you know what, let's actually go and observe these creatures in the wild and see how they behave. Because nobody ever thought that they could perhaps have personalities. This was thought of as being some kind of crazy idea. An animal has personality? But Jane Goodall ignored all that bullshit and said, no, I'm going to go and see what these creatures do in their natural habitat. She went and she spent years just observing these creatures. And she realized that not only do they have individual personalities, they have a social network. They have society almost. They have different relationships between individuals. They have politics. And literally they even have war, right? One troop will literally go to war with another troop over territory. This was inconceivable. Animals have personalities? 60s and 70s, a scientist would have told you you're crazy. But anyone who's ever had a pet knows that individual animals have individual personalities. And this is something that Jane Goodall brought into mainstream science. This wasn't just some random conservationist. She was an extremely important figure in the world of zoology and biology in general, and a major role model for my thinking as a child.